Welcome back to my little kitchen in our Victorian house here in town. We really thought we'd be on our farm by now, so I'm trying to make the most of it, trying to be patient as we finish up our house build. And I use the word finish up loosely because there's a lot more to do and a lot of unexpected delays, which probably should be expected when it comes to the building process. I've listened to so many people talk about building in real life and on the internet, and the one thing that is a pretty common thread is that there are unexpected things along the way that delay the process. I felt like once we had all of our materials, we'd been waiting on some materials, and I thought once this certain thing came, it would be full steam ahead. There's nothing that could stop us now. Well, at least 2 or 3 things have yet again stopped us, and I think it's unique to each person's experience, so I won't necessarily share all the things that have been held up for us. But with all that being said, we are spending a majority, if not all, of this winter in our little house in town where we never really planned to. Luke and I were talking this morning, and I was asking him if we knew it would take this long, would we have made any different choices? And we decided there really wasn't other choices to make. This is one of those seasons where we are trading comfort for right now with what is our future vision. I did have somebody leave a comment like, hey, this doesn't seem simple at all. Building a house, living in a house in town, a lot of moving, potentially moving into a house before it's fully done. I agree with you, but sometimes we do trade today for a future vision, and that's what we're doing right now. And I'm just trying to remember that ultimately this is a good decision for our family, even if it feels hard right now. It definitely doesn't feel like living the simple life, which is what I try to share on here. Our family is divided a lot. Half the day is spent here, half the day is spent at the build. Sometimes half the family, and most of the time, half the family's here, half the family's there, just trying to make it all work with a large family with a big project going on. I'm usually here keeping the home front going, keeping small kids away from the build site, making simple meals to feed us on the go. So I'm going to be sharing some of those meals that we have been relying on right now in the season that we're in. One of them is crock-pot chicken tacos. This is a new blog post over on farmhousehomeboon.com. All of the recipes will be linked below. I love this one because I can use frozen chicken breasts if I didn't have time to thaw them out, or I can give them a quick thaw in some water in the sink. I love using the Instant Pot normally, and if you're following this channel for a while, you might think, hey, when did you get a crock pot? You've been using the Instant Pot for so long. I decided that I wanted another way to cook things slowly. Now, the Instant Pot does have a slow cook function, but I have found it less than desirable, and I realized the reason is that it just heats from the bottom, so it doesn't have that same effect. So I thought there could be a use for a crock pot regularly in our kitchen, and I've really been enjoying using it. One tiny little thing about the crock pot that I like, which might seem silly, is it slides underneath our upper cabinets. So our kitchen right now is really small. We have a very small amount of counter space. So though I love using the Instant Pot and still do, I like that when something is sitting on the countertop all day long, I can tuck it back and not waste a whole bunch of countertop space. I'm still loving using my Instant Pot for yogurt and bone broth, so it's nice leaving that freed up for those things. I cook from scratch as much as possible for the health of our family. Another space where I make health a priority is in the areas we sleep. I want to say thank you to Birch Living for sponsoring today's video. Birch makes mattresses that are crafted with natural and organic materials. They are free from polyurethane foams and fiberglass. So unlike the off-gassing that can happen in the conventional manufacturing process of making mattresses, You won't have that with birch, which brings me a lot of comfort. We spend a third of our lives in bed. Our children spend even more between nighttime sleep and nap times, so it makes sense to prioritize that environment with simple, safe sleep products like Birch has. We have been sleeping on Birch mattresses for many years now. We have a few of the Luxe Queen mattresses for some of our children. We've been slowly adding them through the years. We also have a few of the well-loved natural Birch mattresses in the twin size. Recently, we added a Birch Kids mattress, which is great because it is customizable as kids age. One side is very firm for young children, and then the other side, it can be flipped over and it has a softer side for as they get a little bit older. So it's great because it'll work for many years and stages of children. Now the Luxe is a premium upgrade to the well-loved natural mattress. It has all these layers of high quality materials that support pressure points. Super comfortable. You can also get the topper if you like a little bit more of a plush feel. We recently upgraded to the king size Birch Luxe mattress for such a comfortable sleep, but also I have confidence knowing that my mattress isn't off-gassing, especially with a new baby in our room. That makes me feel really good. Birch mattresses also support breathability and temperature regulation. Naturally hygroscopic wool and natural latex allows for increased airflow to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, Birch is offering a great deal. You can visit birchliving.com/farmhouse for 27% off site-wide. Be sure to mention my channel in their post-purchase survey. Another thing our family loves and has especially been loving lately is Dutch baby pancakes. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my freshly milled version. This recipe is over on the blog. I am using soft white wheat berries. Now what I love to do is weigh the grains before putting them through the mill. That way when they go through the mill, I don't have to remeasure, reweigh, and I can start adding other ingredients to the bowl while the mill is still milling all of the grains, making it really fast and easy. Now I usually double this recipe. I make 2 cast iron skillets. It just comes together with freshly milled soft white wheat berries, milk, eggs, sugar or honey, vanilla, salt, and butter. I love it because it uses up tons of eggs. If it's springtime and you have a lot of eggs on the homestead, that's wonderful, but also it's a very high protein meal. It's very hands off. We love making pancakes and waffles, and we do that all the time. But this is great because you throw it in the skillets, put it in the oven, and forget about it until it's done. So you kind of have the same taste, the same texture, the same ingredients, so all the same nutrition, but yet just less hands-on time on your part. I have a free resource for you if you're ready to learn more about freshly milled grains. You can get my free ebook on sourcing and storing grains. I will leave that linked in the description box below. I have been milling grains for 15 years now, so I have a lot of experience and can help you to get started if that's something that you're wanting to incorporate into your daily routine. It really is so simple and easy once you're very familiar with it, and just knowing that your efforts aren't going to waste and you're producing the most nutrient-dense food possible for your family. I love breakfasts like this because they can be switched up to add a little bit of variety depending on if you want to top it with freshly whipped cream or fresh fruit, chocolate chips. You can add a little bit of cinnamon and pumpkin for a fall variety. I oftentimes get myself into, I don't necessarily want to call it a breakfast rut, maybe more like a breakfast routine where I make the same things over and over and over again, so I just don't have to think about it. It's very fresh in my mind, so I know exactly what goes in it. I don't have to re-look at the recipe, and I especially love it when it can be a one bowl kind of meal. So all of the ingredients in one bowl, whisked together, thrown in skillets that I'll probably not even clean before using them to make lunch. Makes for a very simple breakfast routine. Now, you of course don't need to top it with whipped cream. Oftentimes I don't. We just slice these up, top it with butter and maple syrup, and get on with the day. Another recipe that we have been loving in our family that is packed full of whole grains and all kinds of delicious add-ins like pineapple, carrot, apple, coconut, pecans, grated ginger, orange juice, packed with flavor and nutrition are these Morning Glory muffins. Now, over on the blog, it calls for 2 cups or 280 grams of all-purpose flour. I am just doing 280 grams of soft white wheat berries freshly milled. You can do that with any recipe. Just subbing it 1 for 1 as far as the grams go. I like to just weigh it in the bowl, put it through the mill, and I never measure with cups. It just makes it so much easier. Use less bowls, less dishes. If you want to get started with just 1 whole grain stocked in your pantry, I recommend hard white wheat berries. If you want to stock 2, I recommend soft white for fast baked goods, anything that you wouldn't need. So think about when you make sourdough, when you stretch and fold, that's when you want to use hard white wheat berries because they have the protein content that will make the gluten develop and have those big, long, stretchy strands. Anything that's quick that you wouldn't need, think biscuits, think muffins, pancakes, waffles, puff pancakes, that's where you'll use your soft wheat berries. Again, you can use hard for both, but you cannot use soft for both. So that's why I say if you can only start with 1, do hard white. But if you can start with 2, using soft white really does make everything so much more delicious. The key is to weigh the grains because with hard white, that usually works pretty well for just taking your cup measurer, subbing it 1 for 1 with the cups. But soft white becomes very, very fluffy, as well as ancient grains. If you're using something like einkorn, they become fluffy when they come out of the mill. So a cup is very relative because it's fluffed in there and you might only really be getting like 100 grams where the recipe called for 140. I used to be intimidated by using the scale for some reason, like that was going to make it harder. It doesn't. It's actually so much easier because you just pop your bowl right there on your scale. You can get one very, very cheap. I wouldn't go a day without one in my kitchen. I would just simply run and get a new one right then and there if something happened to mine because of how frequently I use it and how much it has simplified my baking and made it so much easier. It makes it to where you can truly just use any all-purpose recipe and sub it and make whole grain with so much success. I'm topping my Morning Glory muffins with some orange zest sugar. This is optional, but it does make this nice little crusty, citrusy addition to the top that you will certainly enjoy. We are so deliciously and wonderfully stocked right now out in the deep freeze. We already recently picked up a side of beef and then some venison during hunting season, and now our pork order came in. So we have so many options to choose from. Something I don't make a ton of because there aren't that many when ordering a whole hog are ribs, but boy, do we enjoy them when we do have them. I'm adding a ton of seasonings and flavors, and I am going to let these cook low and slow for many hours. I like homemade condiments when they can come together with simple ingredients and very easily. I don't have a ton of time to fuss with them, but homemade barbecue sauce is one of those things. It comes together with things that you probably already have in your pantry and in your spice cabinet. I have this recipe on farmhouseonboone.com and I'll leave it linked below. Is this snow?
Yeah.
Did you already see? All right, well, those are some of the things we've been enjoying in our own kitchen. I hope you are having a lovely winter, maybe getting some time outside to enjoy it.